Welcome back to Captain of Industry Update 3. If you missed it in the last episode, I did a full tour of the island, which is basically perfect. We have more than 10,000 people that are getting everything, all types of food, all services and goods over here. Everything is linked through belt or trains. There is no more trucks. We're using contracts for everything, and most importantly, my pollution went down to zero. All types of pollutions are at zero. So loving this. But there was a couple of things we hadn't done so far. This was some of the end game research that comes with update 3. The rocket tier 2, the space probe, and the asteroid booster. This is what we're gonna look at today. First of all, you can see the rocket tier 2 over here. This is definitely not the same, right? We have now 2 in the rocket assembly depot. The first one, could transport 4 astronauts or 42 of cargo. This one can transport 13 astronauts and 126 of cargo. It does cost a bit more, but definitely not, if you look, this is kind of 3 times the cargo. This is not 3 times the cost. The first one, right, the composite panel only increases by, let's say, 50%. It does require a completely new thing, the titanium alloy. It requires the same amount of steel, and instead of electronics tier 2, electronics tier 3. But yeah, I've built one over here, so that's good. And what I've done too is I have started those new productions. So we have 3 new productions over here. The assembly here is doing the space probe parts. This is going to take composite core and electronics tier 4, which obviously we already had over here, right? But it's also going to take some plutonium. Unfortunately, we don't really produce any plutonium anymore because I only have fast breeder reactors, right? But there is one way to still make some with the blanket fuel enrich. It will give you back some blanket fuel normal, a bit less as always. So this is why we have this production over here to create more blanket fuel. And it's also going to create a bit of plutonium. Again, this is not the normal way. The normal way is more with your spent fuel that you get from the normal reactors. But I had deleted all of these, so I went with this way here. And yeah, this is basically creating the space part, and the space part are then going to the space station. Similarly, on this side, it's a 2-step process actually. First, we need to create the compact reactors. They require some electronics tier 4, so that's the same belt that you can see over here. It also requires some titanium alloy, which obviously we're also making over here. Remember, this is this whole production there. So you can see here, this is this belt there that's coming and being delivered. And it also requires radioactive material. This is the enriched uranium, but at 20%. Now this one you can either make with the normal enriched uranium that you have at the beginning of the game. If you put even more hydrogen fluoride, you will get that. But again, I have deleted all of this, so couldn't really use that. Instead, we're going to use a similar production, which is the blanket fuel enriched to create that enriched uranium. Now, do remember though that these blanket fuel enriched, I was using them before over here to get back some core fuel. Right? So to be able to have a few more and do this, what I've done right now is change the fast breeder reactor to enrichment level 1 to enrichment level 3. That creates a lot more of blanket fuel enriched, right? 48 instead of 16, but that reduces my steam by a lot, which means this is why my electricity right now is often borderline, is because this is not anymore the right production of electricity. I should need a bit more production of electricity, but I'm not doing this temporarily to show it to you, so I think we're fine, or otherwise I'll just fix it after. So this is how we're making the compact reactors, and then we're going to take those compact reactors, a few more composite cores. So this is again the same belt that's coming over here, and the diamonds, not that much, right? Only 4, so that's not too bad. And we were already making tons of diamonds. Where is it? Not this one here. This is one of these. Yeah, here, right? We're making the diamonds over here. We have a huge reserves of diamond there, so not a problem. Okay, so with that, we're making the second thing, the asteroid booster parts. Then I'm sending both of these over here to the space complex. Now, there is only 4 inputs. If you look at a rocket launch pad, you only have 4 inputs here. So what I've done is now I have this launch pad that is focused on, keeping the station alive, right? It's the station parts, the space crew, the crew supplies, and the electronics tier 4. And then we're gonna use this one for these new things, right? Bring them over here, it goes up and down with those elevators. We'll bring in those asteroid booster parts and space probe. And we're gonna send them, I've already sent a couple, but let's send a few more now to space. You can see this bigger launch, love it. So it is. If we go back to my space station here, we'll see that not only we have all of this working fine, we have also at the bottom, right, orbital supplies and the asteroid booster parts. And we can click on the asteroid over here, and right now we haven't found any. So first we need to use some space probe parts to scan. So let's scan for an asteroid. It's gonna take a second. The probe is scanning it. We're sending, some crew with the other, but that's fine. That's a different thing. Okay, let's give it a second. I'm just showing you live this amazing new part of the game. It's crazy how they'll keep adding things. So we found an asteroid, which, as you can see, has a lot of copper and has a lot also of titanium. We can even see the exact amount, right? 825,000, that's quite a nice number, and 370,000. We can also see the radius, which will be important in a second. But first, we're gonna need to bring it to orbit. Problem is, it seems to bring this one to orbit, basically because how big it is, it's gonna take us 480 of those asteroid booster parts. It's gonna take a second for me to get there. In the meantime, though, if I want, I can scan for another, maybe get a smaller asteroid, we'll see. For example, this second asteroid over here is actually smaller, right? It's 50 radius instead of 65. Obviously, a lot less resources too, but that means I need less asteroid part to bring it, 240 instead of 480. Let's scan one more time. A few minutes later and a few more rockets, we have enough. I look at my asteroids over here. I did find a few other asteroids that were too big. This one is 600, but we can do that one now. We have 336 of these asteroid booster parts. We need 240. So let's click on it and say bring to orbit. And it's gonna come to orbit. It's gonna take a second. So I'll jump into the future, and it is. The asteroid says ready. So we can select the landing zone, because now we're going to send the asteroid back on our island. So it is with iron and quartz. So I think this is a good place, right? Because there's iron and quartz. I have seen already people, creating like craters and things like this. Obviously, you can basically make this almost like a, contract, if you wish, right? Like instead of having regular contract like this, you can say, well, I'm gonna bring regular asteroids and always mine. So here it is. We have the asteroid that arrived, right? Creating this mountain. And that's pretty cool. If we look over here, right, again, we can see both the iron and the quartz have been delivered now to the island. And with that, we have officially concluded, update 3. We've done all of the research. We've built all of the production, including all of these old ones. Remember, these are infinite research. They don't unlock any new buildings. And we have really created a super efficient city where people are getting everything. There's no pollution. And if you missed it in the last episode, I said, this city, I've left it to run for the whole night and didn't have any problems, right? Everything stayed very flat. We are producing enough. There is no problem whatsoever. As always, this save will be available to all of my Patreon and YouTube supporters so that you can play it further, you can discover it in detail. And I'd love to hear in the comments below if you want to see more Captain of Industry content on the channel in the future. Thank you for watching, and to see you next time.